A Labour frontbencher has hit out at the television chef Jamie Oliver after finding a packet of jerk rice sold under his brand, which doesn't contain all its essential ingredients. MP Dawn Butler, whose parents are from Jamaica, said this appropriation needs to stop. The microwave jerk rice product, which has just gone on sale in supermarkets, contains jalapeno chili, ginger and garlic, but not the allspice and Scotch bonnet peppers, which are integral to jerk seasoning. But when many cooks take influence and inspiration from travels abroad and put their own spin on recipes from around the world, isn't all food global nowadays? Well, with me now is the Jamaican-born chef and entrepreneur Levi Roots and the chef and restaurateur Bea Vo. Levi Roots, is Jamie Oliver guilty of cultural appropriation?
No, he's not. I totally don't believe that. I think what he's done, I think he hasn't done his research. And he also has forgotten that I actually taught him how to cook.
I saw that. So does that make it worse?
I went through all the process of it because I myself, when I get it wrong, and I'm a Jamaican-born, but sometimes I do get it wrong, and Jamaicans will say to me, Levi, got to make sure that you get this right. And I went through it with Jamie, and I think that he's made a massive mistake.
Because there's lots wrong, isn't there, with the whole concept of jerk and rice anyway?
Yes, absolutely. Because you wouldn't have a jerk rice in Jamaica. You'd have a jerk-flavoured rice. So you can have your jerk seasoning, and you can put that on a rice, and it becomes a jerk-flavoured rice. But there isn't a sort of a jerk flavour with aubergines, and I think it's got a lot of Caribbean people backs up because it doesn't have the allspice in it. And officially in Jamaica, it is said, if allspice is not in, then you cannot refer to it.
So they're very strict about it.
Absolutely. You could have called it Jamie's Caribbean, infused rice or something. I don't think much people would have a problem with that.
So, Bea Vo, it's a mistake and a pretty bad one, but it's not cultural appropriation.
So I do see it maybe not potentially as a form of cultural appropriation, because normally that would require at least some of the ingredients in the dish to maybe be there, but maybe in a kind of a haphazard, careless sort of way. But it is very clear from this dish, there is nothing in it to suggest that it has anything to do with jerk. And I feel like there's kind of a disconnect, because something like this type of product takes months before it hits the shelves, right? You have a research development team, you have a recipe development team, and you have a marketing team, and they all work together to create this line of products, which is great, because I think Jamie does a great job of trying to promote better eating. And I think, when you see the line, it's like, great, instead of canned, chips and that kind of thing, you're eating stuff like quinoa and lentils, and it's really great to have pulses. However, to use the word jerk rice was purely meant as a form of, in a way, exploitation. You're taking.
So what Jamie himself says, we've had a statement from him, I've worked with flavours and spices all over the world, learning and drawing inspiration from different countries and cultures to give a fresh twist to food. When I created the rice, my intention, or when I named the rice, my intention was to show where my inspiration came from. So why can't this be deemed a tribute in a way?
Okay, so if I were to package a dish and it was a beautiful crispy salmon with asparagus, and then I labeled it shepherd's pie, what would you think? Because there is nothing, the characteristics of shepherd's pie, mashed potato crust and a meat underneath of mince of some sort, that's what you characterize as shepherd's pie. Same thing with jerk. Right, you have allspice, potentially Scotch bonnet, you have, thyme, scallions, all those things. None of those items are in this jerk rice. So even if and let alone aubergine. So even if, for example, he had potentially thyme, Scotch bonnet, you could see the inspiration, but there was nothing there.
But when does that become cultural appropriation, which is a sort of quite a malign thing, isn't it?
I think what happened there is a few political fuddy-duddies, if I can call them that, is having a go at Dawn Butler. I think she's raised a really valid point that all Caribbean people would be up in arms. I think a lot of people would have written in, but you wouldn't have heard this news, but I think Dawn says it and people jump on the appropriation bit. But I think I think it's kind of romantic what she's done, really, to say protect an intellectual property, which is quite Jamaican, and I think Jamaicans are applauding her for
And how much is food tied to our identity? For a lot, it's very close to identity.
But it even happens here in the UK, right? You have regions who literally are still fighting over what goes on a scone first. Is it jam or is it cream? And those types of arguments, when you see that kind of hit the news cycle every now and then, it's the same thing. It's like every food is a very important part of someone's culture because it's not just about the flavors. It's about, well, why are those flavors there?
But reaching out to other cultures and their food is a brilliant thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, and there's absolutely nothing wrong in terms of food innovation, right? I mean, I worked at Nobu, which is a Japanese-Peruvian fusion restaurant. And, you know, we always have Japanese folks come in and they're like, this isn't Japanese, because we have jalapenos on top of sashimi, and there's like hot sesame oil going over on top of things, and ancho chili pepper. And that's great, as long as it's understood with respect and context.
Really, really quick in a word, Levi.
Yes.
Should Jamaica have patented jerk?
Yeah, I think they should. I think they have done, but I'm asking Jamie to come out and do, and I don't know whether I can use this word, a jerk off with me, so we can do it the right way.
We're going to have to leave that right there.